the Homestead Studios in Santa Clarita, California, this is a Headache Soul production. Welcome to Just the Tip-Sters, America's favorite true crime podcast. I'm your host, Melissa Morgan. With me today is my handsome and talented co-host, Joshua Earl Grey Bevan.
Earl Grey?
Because you're a total teabag. That one was pre-approved by a male who signed off on it. That's the one. That's the one that won.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. Can you imagine the other one?
Oh, no.
Okay. So, how was your week, Joshua?
Oh, my week was busy and crazy and all of that, but you got a whole new thing this week.
I got a new gig. I am helping out the incredibly beautiful Tipster Bronwyn at her landscaping company. I'm just kind of doing some, reception work, some admin work, and they are amazing. I can say their name. It's Oak Ridge Landscaping if you're in Santa Clarita. They're amazing people. And actually, that's not even true. They have offices all over. They have the central coast of California. They have Riverside. They have Simi Valley, Ventura County. I mean, they're amazing.
Awesome.
Yeah, they're amazing.
Cool.
So, sweet Bronwyn, who listens to this podcast while she's driving around, meeting new clients and writing up proposals for HOAs and commercial properties and people who need landscaping. She is an amazing person, and she really does listen to the podcast, and she will quiz me later. What do you mean by that? Or why are you so mean to Joshua? And I'm like, because he deserves it.
She sticks up for me too.
Yes, it's very sad. She knows you deserve it. So she is such an incredible. I was saying before we started to Joshua, thanking him for being such an angel in my life, because he's being so flexible with me and my schedule, our recording schedule, because he has a very busy life and he's being so flexible with me. I started working temporarily for Bronwyn's company, and they're so terrific. Like, I start back school the day after Labor Day, so Tuesdays and Thursday nights, and some Saturdays I'm going to be busting my hump. So I couldn't work 40 hours a week, but I'm working 30, and they're working around my schedule. They're just amazing. Good. Yeah, and because it's temp, it's like if they hate me, they can fire me. And if I hate them, I can quit, but that won't happen. So it's just been, it's been 3 days, and it's been 3 days it made me feel better about myself, contributing and doing something. So yeah, it's almost the perfect situation, because like I said, it's not like, I'm depending on this for the rest of my life. Right. It's like, this is such a great help right now. Yeah. And they're so kind about, they're like, we thank you for your help. And I'm like, I feel like I'm not doing anything, but I'm happy to be here. So.
And they actually let you answer the phones?
They do.
Okay.
I haven't said fuck yet. So what the fuck do you want? Thank you for calling Oak Ridge Landscaping. This is Melissa. What the fuck do you want?
Okay.
Who the fuck can I transfer you to now? God damn it. Yeah, I don't think anyone's complained yet. I will say I've walked by a couple of offices, and there was some, fucking this and fucking that. And I'm like, yes, I have found my people.
Oh, good. All right.
I have found my people.
Okay.
Yeah. Good. It's just such a different experience than any place else I've ever worked. Everyone's very independent, and I'm going around trying to clean up after people. And they're like, don't do that. That's not, you don't have to do that. And I'm like, okay.
All right.
Yeah. They're terrific. So far, good. They're probably all serial killers, but I did
they have to hide it for a few days.
No,
right?
Listen to this shit. So what we're going to talk about today is the trucking industry and how it attracts serial killers. Good. That's going to be part of our series but this, I found this, and I was so thrilled. I was like, we're going to do this before we go into another person particularly, but this is fascinating, and it's brand new, and it's started, and it's great. So what was in my research, what was something I found, the careers that attract serial killers: long haul truckers, park rangers, arborists, and Bronwyn's an arborist. So I took a screenshot, put an arrow to it, and I said, I knew it.
Yeah.
And she goes, hey, those wood chippers come in handy.
Oh, okay.
Can you believe that little beautiful fairy sprite said wood chippers come in handy? So we're watching you, Bronwyn.
Right. Is that for real? Could it really taking body down.
Yeah, you did. Did you know that scene in Fargo was based on a real?
Well, I mean,
a pilot who killed his wife,
I've seen it in Fargo. I've seen it in other little things.
I've only seen it in Fargo, but it was based on
Fargo, the show too.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, it was based on a pilot who killed his wife. He kept her in a freezer right around Christmas time. He did everything wrong. Bought a freezer at like Home Depot, a large chest freezer. Kept her in there for a while, and then had to let her thaw out before he could get her through the wood chipper because if it's frozen. He rented a wood chipper.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Helle Crafts was her name. Halle, like Swedish. Like Helle, her last name is Crafts. Crafts or Krafts.
But
yeah.
But when you're going to return the rented wood chipper,
he didn't.
Oh, he stole the one.
He left it like on the side of the road.
That's
yeah. He was really dumb. I mean, it's like here he is going to Home Depot buying a large freezer to put a body in.
Yeah.
Keeps it there for like a couple weeks. Takes his kids to like, I don't know, some like his parents in another either state or country for Christmas. Where's your mom? Oh, doesn't want to come with us this year.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. He was really dumb. I think his name was Richard Crafts. Yeah. I mean, it was, yes.
Okay.
So I'm going to give Brown one the benefit of the doubt and say that she probably hasn't killed anyone since she is very, very like sweet and empathic and doesn't like to kill people. But also don't fucking get in her way because she'll take you down, but not so much in a wood chipper.
Okay.
So I just want to say that. So this is, I'm going to tell you starting 3 days this week working, and it's only 6 hours a day. I don't really take a break, which, I'm supposed to get one, but I don't really care. I'd rather just work.
Just push through.
Yeah. 6 hours and then go home because I have like shit to do.
Sure.
So, So, what has kept me going is Magic Mind.
Oh, nice.
So I really can't tell you how much I love this stuff. And I love the Magic Mind Sleep Elixir almost more than the Magic Mind. But if I don't take the Magic Mind regular elixir in the morning, I feel it heavily. I am, quite frankly, living on some caffeine right now. And sometimes I get so busy, I don't even get to drink all of my Mountain Dew Kickstart that I want to. I know it's sad.
Right. That's a horrible life.
I know it is. It is. If you forget and then like the ice is melted in it and then you have to throw it away and get another one because but the Magic Mind in the morning and the Magic Mind Sleep Elixir at night, I literally can't tell you how much it has changed my life, made my life better. I think I'm a better person. I know that's putting a lot of pressure on something, but haven't I been nicer to you?
Oh, absolutely.
Teabag?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely so much nicer.
Think of how bad it would be if I were not on Magic Mind. That's what I want to say right now. I absolutely, I love it. I wouldn't say this if I didn't mean it. So what was funny about this week's delivery is I do not know what happened. Me being an alien, I think played into it.
Okay.
So I got 2 boxes of Sleep Elixir, 1 box of regular, the Magic Mind Daily, and another box of Sleep Elixir.
Okay.
And then 2 boxes got delivered to someone else's house.
Oh.
Anyway, back to Magic Mind. It is an amazing product, and I couldn't love it more. I don't care how many boxes get delivered to me. I'm going to keep every one of them and be really grateful. If you feel like you need something to help you through the day or definitely to help you sleep, please go to magicmind.com. In the promo code area, put Tip-Sters 20. You get 20% off and free shipping. And I wish I could give you like, I will come to your house. I'm not gonna do landscaping, but I'll clean your house. I'll hug your dogs. I'll do anything you need. I'm not going to change your baby's diapers, but I will babysit them or something. I mean, I'm telling you.
And them back with full diapers.
Yeah, that's right. Here you go. Yeah, I'll be the crazy aunt. I'm telling you, it's changed my life only for the better. And if I, skip a day or two, I kind of notice it. And then when I run out, I get like, this is not good. I need my magic back. Wow. So yeah, please check out Magic Mind. It is a phenomenal product. And I wouldn't say that if I didn't mean it. Okay. So we were going to start a kind of a series
Right.
of, truck driver stuff. And then I am reading through something and I was like, oh, and this is recent and it is amazing. So there's a new book out. I believe it came out maybe in June. And this interview was not until July, maybe even the beginning of August. It's called Long Haul, Hunting the Highway Serial Killers. And it is from a former assistant director of the FBI, and he worked there for 25 years. And his name is, I'm going to please try not to butcher this, Frank Figliuzzi. It's Figliuzzi, Frank Figliuzzi. And he started to notice this is not exactly new. This program was started, I believe, in like 2006, but they're really ramping it up. And it is a, long haul trucker serial killer initiative.
Oh, okay.
I mean, they're really focusing on truck drivers, and I love it. And every point, a lot of times in this book, what he has are like catchphrases and platitudes.
Okay.
I mean, he has done, please don't get me wrong, I'm not doubting his journalistic endeavors because he's a really good writer and he's done a whole fucking lot of research. But a lot of what he says, it just feels like, oh, that makes sense. Oh, which I'm going to get to. And it's just, cool. He has it boiled down into catchphrases that make a lot of sense and make you think, like, how the hell were these connections not drawn before?
Okay.
So we know there are, quite a few very famous serial killer truck drivers, who've done terrible things for decades. We talked about Warren Alexander last week. We're going to talk about Keith Jesperson and, just some really awful human beings. And there's a really interesting list of them. But this was shocking to me. There have been over 850 murders along America's highways in the last 20 years.
Oh, wow.
850 murders. They believe, some of them have been, solved, but a large portion of them haven't been. So we'll hear why. And it makes like really perfect sense. There are 200 of them that are unsolved still.
Okay.
And there are at least 450 suspects.
Whoa.
There are currently 25 long haul truck drivers behind bars for murder.
Okay.
Serial murder.
Okay.
More than one. But of course, investigators believe that there's so many more out there.
Sure.
Yeah. It's a lot. And something I don't find this too inflammatory. Something I love that Frank Figliuzzi says in his book is that this is a pandemic.
Yeah.
I agree with them. I don't think that's too big or too dramatic or too inflammatory. I think I agree with them that it's a pandemic.
Okay.
Of course, there are still multiple serial killer long haul truck drivers out there. The FBI estimates that there are typically at one time 50 serial killers in the United States. That is, probably just boiled down from a whole lot of statistics.
50 active serial killers, like right now, 50 people are murdering.
Maybe not at this moment, but yes, at
in
the
the middle
time
of their streak. Yeah.
Yeah. That is sort of what they have, again, boiled it down to. I don't know how you get those numbers. Again, they do a lot to track murders and try to find links between them. That's one of the things I'm going to school for is to, find these connections. And, I'm, as much as I wish I were a statistics girl and I wish I could, be more helpful with those ones and zeros, I think I just am going to be better at the mindset behind why.
Sure.
And he talks about that, some of it in his book. And it's, to me, it's really, it's very interesting. And it's also very simple. When he mentions it, you're like, oh, well, yeah, of course. How did I not, oh my God, this makes sense. But he also does talk about the thing that propels me to want to do this is nature versus nurture.
Okay.
Is it the conditions of driving alone, a terrible diet, you can't exercise, you're isolated, or did you get this job because you wanted to be alone with your horror
person? Yeah.
It's fascinating to me. That's the fascinating part to me. So again, his book is called Long Haul: Hunting the Highway Serial Killers. And he is really doing that. It is his mission. And he says, you know what? There are too many long haul truck driver serial killers that are stalking our highways.
Yeah. I mean, one is too many, but yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So the kind of research he did, as he spent quite a long time along with a flatbed truck driver identified only as Mike, in quotes.
Okay.
And he rode with him for 2,000 miles for several days on end.
Okay.
And he said it exposed him to the extraordinary mental, physical challenges faced by truckers. You're isolated for many hours, you're sedentary for long times because you're sitting.
Right.
How do you maintain a healthy lifestyle? He said there's just no one simple answer to explain why long haul truck drivers is one of the main jobs for serial killers. But it's like you're a hermit. It's a nomadic lifestyle. He said, I feel like those things can be contributing factors.
Sure.
And he's right. Some of the truck drivers had, it's like, he calls it a blend of genetic, mental, and environmental conditions. And that makes sense. A couple of them in their backgrounds had terrible abuse at the hands of family members or parents, but not always.
Okay.
That's, sometimes they were just an antisocial personality, and they just were like, I'm going to find a career that fits, fits my brain. And then, once they get this job, they, like you said, Joshua, they're loners or.
Yeah. I mean, I guess you just said antisocial. So that's, to me, that's a difference. Like a loner kind of person, it seems healthy. It's like, okay, well, it's just kind of an introvert, kind of a loner.
Right.
But when you say antisocial, that's the other side of that coin. That's not quite
he
healthy.
doesn't, I guess, I had somebody say to me, I sense that you enjoy being alone. And I was like, oh, yes.
Yeah.
I do. And it's not, and sometimes I get bored and lonely, but I actually am okay being alone.
Oh, for sure.
Maybe I have like too much spinning in my head and I have already, enough crap going on.
I'm a huge loner. Yeah.
It's so funny because I feel like you're so, social and active and out there. And it's so interesting to me.
I mean, I've learned that in order to do anything, in order to get anywhere in life, you gotta learn how to be social.
Oh, that's interesting.
But no, if I had my druthers, I mean, that is an attractive. You're naming long haul trucking, and I'm like, oh, you just get to chill and drive for hours and hours. That sounds amazing. Like
listen to podcasts.
Yeah, just listening, or maybe. I think if I had a truck, I would have. Sylvester Stallone's little workout equipment in there.
Okay, so you could be doing stuff
from Over the Top.
Okay,
he had like a little gym that he kind of was working out his arm wrestling muscles.
All I remember is like Linda Hamilton and I don't know, Terminator, where she turns her bed upside down and does pull-ups or something. Yeah, I'm not that creative, and I don't like to move. But yeah, you would be an interesting truck driver because you'd first of all. Go to a movie with Joshua. He has a bag. In his bag is a blankie in case it gets cold. He is a scout mom. Tissues in case he cries or who he's with cries. Like a cup or a drink or, food or what. I mean, it's like you're a scoutmaster.
I've got it ready to go. I mean,
you got like a waterproof tent that pops up and a aluminum sleeping bag to keep us warm. And
I have I bring my popcorn cheese, a little shaker.
Yes, you do. I forgot about that. Yeah, it's amazing. So you'd be a really good truck driver. Please don't kill people.
I don't want to kill people.
Okay, good. All right, good.
Like that doesn't.
Yeah.
I'm kind of a loner.
Which is different than antisocial.
Right. Yeah,
I mean, Frank Figliuzzi says a lot of them are like misanthropes. They just don't like humanity or other people, or, especially unfortunately toward women. So, they get these jobs that fit their personality, and they are like, hey, you know what? I can get away with fucking anything. Mm-hmm. I can do anything I want. And then this is such a layered, complicated thing. They had these deep-seated issues, unfortunately, against a lot of women. Right. And, they have these violent tendencies. And then when they're like, driving around getting like more, you're by yourself, there's nobody to say, hey,
right,
why are you thinking like that? Or, hey, calm it down, buddy. Or,
right.
You're just at your own, disposal, and you can do whatever you want. It's all these things rise to the surface. And then, some poor, sex worker ends up on the side of the freeway because you had to.
Right. And then if you got away with it the first time,
right,
then it's spiraling in your head like, oh, well,
I'm God.
Yeah.
I can do anything I want. Yeah. I hate to say this, but it is the number one profession of serial killers. I mean, Frank Figliuzzi said there's no other job that comes close, which is other than Bronwyn being an arborist. But, and I have a very difficult time with this word. I know that our lexicon changes over time, over generations. I hate the term sex trafficking because everyone thinks of a storage container filled with children from a third world country that, rich white men are raping. No, it doesn't work like that. It doesn't. You think it happens all the time in all of these amazing savior groups or, no. It isn't that easy. The internet is both a wonderful and terrible. Right. It makes it easy for you to do terrible things, and it makes it easy to catch you. It's just, it makes me so angry. So, okay. What used to be called, vice or prostitution is now sex worker. I get it. I believe it should be legalized and taxed and they should be given health care. And if you're an adult and they're an adult and you want to pay them for whatever they can do, God bless you. But sex trafficking, that word brings up so much. Okay. So anyway, deep breath. All right. So most of these women have been sex workers, but not all.
Okay.
They have been picked up at truck stops.
Right.
Maybe picked up in one jurisdiction, raped and murdered in another, and then dumped in a third.
Jeez. Yeah, okay.
As we know, law enforcement, not great at communicating.
No, with each other.
Yeah, with each other. And other victim, family. Another thing, you might have been... you have to maybe distance yourself from a family member who's on drugs or working, as a sex worker because you don't want that around your own environment or your own kids. So a lot of these women, they have no ID on them and no one is looking for them and asking for them.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, there's so many layers to this that make it, I swear to God, I'm not like writing how to be a long haul truck driver serial killer handbook. But I mean, doesn't it? I got all the, no, I don't. How about just start as an arborist?
Yeah.
Yeah. How about that? I mean, there are so many layers to this, and I know law enforcement is so much better than it used to be about communicating.
Yeah.
Thank God. But it's still my biggest gripe, my biggest desire would be to have some sort of country, and I know it's never going to happen, countrywide network, where you report things, you put, specific, I know that's what like VICAP, the violent, whatever, criminal apprehension, whatever, CODIS, where you put in people's DNA. I feel like there needs to be more. You put in like the type of murder, strangled, shot, stabbed, what was used, manual strangulation. Did you use a rope? Did you use a cord? Like, Warren Alexander, there, it just feels like there would be so much more. Statistics and crime analysts have so much at their disposal and at their fingertips. Why isn't there a better a better system. And I will tell you, just sitting in fucking, pardon my language again, crime analysis, certification program, people from LAPD, people from Ventura County Sheriff's Department, people from Simi Valley PD, people from LAPD, you mentioned you will have a better chance getting information than I will, and I work in law enforcement.
Oh, you as a podcaster,
Yep.
As a private citizen are going to have a better time.
One amazing, beautiful girl who, is a crime analyst for a local, let's say, not that far away, said that I've had the hardest time with LAPD, and apparently other people have too.
Okay.
Other agencies have too.
Sure.
There is some sort of big rivalry between the LA County Sheriff's Department and LAPD. I don't really get it, but this other local police jurisdiction, she said she submitted a request for something and 6 months later it had not been answered. And she is, actively working and has worked for a well-respected.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh.
6 months.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, communication, I feel like should be better. I agree with you there. Some things sound kind of scary because if you go down a path where everything becomes computerized, and if you train the computer to analyze something, and then it gets into this weird sci-fi like, right? What is it? Minority Report.
Yes.
We're going to arrest people before they even commit the crimes or something.
Right after they're born.
Yeah. Like, I don't know.
Because we can scan their retina.
Some of that stuff sounds a little scary if you go all the way down the line.
Yes.
But yeah. When somebody emails and says, hey, can I have this file? And maybe, take less than 6 months to get it over there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
To connect, a murder and a criminal that is involved in.
Yeah. From one county to the next county over. Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
I think that needs, yes, I agree. That needs to be better.
Thank you.
Yeah.
At first I thought you were going in a different direction, but I love where you went.
No, I mean, I expand things all the way out in my head, and it gets a little. No,
I loved where you went. I thought you were going to say some of these things sound a little, like scary, and I was like, oh no, but you're right. I love where you're going. What I thought and I'm sitting here looking at this, and I thought, oh shit, is he going to say? What I thought you were going to say is some of these like statistics are very scary. I'd like you to just look at a map of unsolved.
Oh my God, chicken pox. Yeah.
A map of unsolved, across, dumped on the side of the road, potential sex workers, unsolved.
Right. All on the highways. Crazy.
Yes. So I appreciate where you went, and you do make a very great point. I don't, nobody wants, the FBI going through your underwear drawer.
Well, sure.
But I don't know.
I think it's valid. If you can train a computer to look at these, and if you give it all the same information that you get in your crime analyst classes and different books and whatever, and it can link things, and then the human can go, oh, wow.
It. The human element.
I would never have connected these two cases. Yes. And then all of a sudden now you've got, leads or whatever.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's the human element that I think will never go away. I know there are some people who say like, oh, my job is, basically, recession proof. They're always going to need X or Y or Z. Sure. And those things come down to humans.
Right. Right.
And, crime analysis and statistics are great done by a computer. Does the computer then go out and hit the pavement and run down those leads?
I mean,
no.
Yeah. Now, no.
Okay. I'm not getting into your brain right now. No, I'm not. I cannot get into your brain right now. So, Frank Figliuzzi says, you know what? These serial killers are exploiting the seams in law enforcement jurisdictions, the faulty seams. Yeah. He's right. He says, here's some of the platitudes I don't particularly like. Essentially, their trucks are 18-wheel mobile crime scenes.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And he's saying that because there have been several truckers who, have tried to thoroughly clean the back of their, rigs after doing something terrible, and they still find biological material. That's how a couple of the people we're going to talk about, that is how they got them. And I will tell you, this is just a small tidbit that made me ill. Keith Jesperson, the smiley face or happy face killer,
Okay.
he'd leave little happy face, emojis, drawings on his victims and around in the area. He said, he has the time to think about this and formulate a plan. And he said, I thought if I tie them to the back of my truck, I could drag them for a while and get rid of basically anything that could help identify him.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. And he's right.
And I'm just sitting here thinking of the ego of that. The idea that, I can get away with dragging a human behind my truck for miles,
rip off their face and maybe fingerprints,
and nobody's gonna
connect it to me.
You're just out on the road,
mm-hmm.
and either nobody's around or maybe another trucker around or whatever, that you're like, yeah, he's not going to report it.
So we think of ourselves as living in a society where it's very crowded. There's too many people all in one area. There are so many millions of miles and acres in this country that are uninhabited by anything.
Just wide open.
Mm-hmm. And that's the routes that a lot of cross-country truckers take.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. Too many statistics in my head, like, Lake Michigan is so cold that bodies don't rise. And that was, where a lot of like Chicago crime families would dump people because they were never going to show up. Now nature changes things, like Lake Mead in Las Vegas was always a place where you'd put, other mob members. And now it's, global warming has made Lake Mead, recede. So now 55-gallon drums are washing up with, dead people in them.
Right.
The points that Frank Figliuzzi makes in his book, which I do recommend if you want to kind of, if you want to kind of get an idea of maybe how you can help. And we're going to share that at the end, because they really are asking for help. There's, a lot of times there's no ID left on the victims. It can take decades before the police attach a name to them because family members have maybe, they don't even realize their loved one's missing. Right. And maybe they've been like, well, they're out on the street and that's where they're going to be and they won't come in. And we've tried and, we had to distance ourselves. They've been repeatedly arrested for prostitution. They've overdosed. There's so much, trauma in our family. We just have to let them go. And then, nobody's demanding information from the police or even searching for them, which is, totally heartbreaking.
It is a heartbreaking.
Yeah. I mean, Figliuzzi did speak with a lot of, trafficked victims who survived violent encounters with truckers. Yeah. Most of them were truck drivers who abused, alcohol and drugs. And, when my grandfather was a truck driver, he drank not excessively. He was not that big of a drinker, but I think he hung out with quite a few. Actually, I believe I know what changed his mindset is he was very young, like 16, and was with the town doctor in an old fashioned, like, I don't know, Model T or Model A. Mm-hmm. And the town doctor was drunk and my grandfather was drinking with them. And they were in an accident and my grandfather had a scar on the front of his head, which I was told later, it was a big one, basically scalped him. The old style cars had wood window frames.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And he went through a window.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
And it scalped him. So I know when I was a kid, I heard, like when you hear drunk stories from people.
Sure.
At one point he was at a local bar, like maybe 10 minutes from my grandparents' house. And I had just been born. Maybe he was there like celebrating or something. And he comes home with a donkey.
What?
And my grandmother goes,
what?
And he goes, I bought this donkey for Melissa. And my grandmother's like, you're taking it back.
Yeah.
So I'm sure some drinking buddy said, hey, your granddaughter needs a donkey.
Right. For sure.
Every kid. I did not grow up with a donkey.
You could have. Oh man.
I was a baby.
How would your life have been different?
A lot worse, I'm guessing.
Would it?
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't think he was like a violent drunk or anything like that. And I remember he would mow our 2-acre yard. And then when my mom and I moved next door, we had 2 acres. So he'd mow 4 acres. And he would come in the afternoon on Saturdays and drink a burger beer.
Burger? Is that
Oh, I don't
Midwest?
know.
I don't know.
Probably. Okay. I don't think they still make it. I think it tasted like horse piss. But burger was his favorite, like Burgermeister, Meisterburger. Okay. And he would pour salt around the opening.
Okay.
That was it.
So he'd have his one bottle of...
Not a bottle, a can.
Oh, a can.
1 can of burger beer with salt around the edge after he mowed 4 acres.
Okay.
And then at Christmas time, they always had like big, open house holiday party. And he would have something he called a highball, which would be in like a Scotch glass with rock, ice. It wasn't a lot.
Right.
He'd be like, I'm just making myself a highball. And I think it involved Coke, maybe. Like Jack and Coke or something. I don't know what a highball means. I think it's a mixture of something, right?
Yeah, I think the word highball just means cocktail.
Okay.
Like I don't think it's anything specific. I
right.
think it's
like a mix of a couple things, maybe.
Well, the glass is a highball glass.
Okay. We had highball. Those real pretty cut crystal highball glasses.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Yeah. So, being a drug addict or an alcoholic, I understand because I know there was a time when my grandfather was like, they're accusing us of taking uppers. And I'm like, what's uppers? Like, I didn't know.
Right. I think that's huge because
I think it's very prevalent.
I mean, if you can do more miles,
right.
If you could stay awake longer.
Smokey and the Bear or the Bandit. Smokey and the Bandit.
They didn't do drugs in that.
No, but they barely stopped to pee.
Yeah, they didn't stop. Yeah.
Eastbound and down.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, it's, every career has its pluses and minuses.
Sure.
I remember one time my mother saying, when you learn to drive, always be respectful of truckers.
Yeah.
They do more than we can ever.
Absolutely.
And I'm like, they do? She said, how do you think we get this and this and this? It moves across the country this way. And I'm like, oh, like I had no idea.
There's the thing. You're talking about how much blank space is in the United States. That's how people who aren't in the crowded areas could actually survive. They
right.
get everything trucked in. Everything's shipped.
Right. Right. So, I mean, I'm grateful for truck drivers every day, and I do try to stay out of their way, and I try not to stop quickly in front of them. And they're tired, or, maybe their load isn't, balanced, or, I mean, I really do try to stay out of their way. And I am grateful for truck drivers. It's also a odd career, and you can make a lot of money and support your family without some, highfalutin education. And it probably helps breed, anger, resentment, loneliness. Yeah.
Sure.
I get it. Or you start off as a weirdo and then.
Yeah, I'm sure it's a mixture of both, right. Like you said.
I do think it's interesting that the FBI launched the Highway Serial Killings Initiative in 2004.
Wow.
It's, they call it the HSK database. It's, the Highway Serial Killers database. It's amazing. It's been around since 2004. And I know that they have tried to document murdered women back into the early 1980s. There's still 200, 250 that have, not been identified or solved. It's still happening today. They are saying it's slower than the 90s and the 2000s, which is, I think it's because it's easier to catch you now.
Sure.
I know what my grandfather had was a log book. Like he would, have to log like by hand.
Actually log it in. Yeah.
I did some research with surveys answered by truck drivers. And one of them said, it's so much harder now to do something. Most companies are worried that you are stealing, stuff that you're taking, or stealing time, or, not doing your job.
Sure.
But we have cameras, not only a dash cam, but we have cameras in the truck.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't want that job.
Right.
Where there's a
I will also tell you,
pointed at me the whole time. Yeah.
But I think it's not, I don't think it's prevalent. I think there's probably just large companies.
Yeah.
Having a dash cam is a brilliant thing because of accidents, and they can say you did it, and you can prove no, they did it.
Right.
Having a camera in the cab would not make me happy.
No, I wouldn't.
Yeah.
I don't know. I wouldn't.
Especially all the like hand puppets and stuff I have that
Sure.
I'm sending messages out the window to other drivers. I don't know that would go over well.
You get your puppet. You take the little stick to raise the hand to make it go.
Yeah. It's like you're next to me.
Yeah. Okay.
It's like you've been next to me in my truck driving career.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I am grateful that it seems to have slowed down. I don't know if I'm going to try to believe in that statistic. I mean, some of the people we're going to talk about, one of them is Robert Ben Rhodes, who I never wanted to talk about because he's so disgusting and so gross. And he, was on a murder spree for 15 years from 1975 to 1990. He picked up, kids, hitchhikers, he's the grossest. And I hate to say this, like, he had, I don't know if he had a stroke or something, but like he has one eye that's like shut, and like, his mouth is sort of weird. It makes him even worse because he's unattractive. Not that, serial killers are attractive. I'm just saying he's grosser than most.
Right.
He is like, yeah. Anyway, there's another truck driver that would, be driving across states, and he would break into homes that were inhabited by couples. Very much the Golden State Killer. He'd kill the male instantly, and then kidnap, rape, and murder the female.
Jesus.
I know. So, I mean, and then there's Keith Jesperson, and his daughter has a podcast. I know her first name's Melissa, but she has recently gotten either remarried. She had her married name at first, and then she got divorced, and she got remarried. And I don't know her new married name, but I think she has a podcast called The Happy Face Killer about living with her dad while he was in his murder spree. So, there's so many, like, I know there's the I-40 killer in Texas. A lot of, there's the killing fields in Texas, not like in Cambodia, but it's, these interstates that go back and forth that are, I always think about the 5 freeway as the main artery between Canada and Mexico.
Sure.
And that is so odd to me that I am on it like every day.
Right.
The I-40, I-75, that go coast to coast.
Right.
I mean, I get it. There's a lot of ground and a lot that you can do as a really crappy human being if you know how to do terrible things.
Right.
But it just sometimes it feels overwhelming, and that we're not ever gonna be able to make a dent. But I believe we can make a dent. I think if you do things like read this book, if you are interested at all, and do some research, you may have someone that that is missing in your life, or people tend to come forward if there's someone that they know has been murdered and it's unsolved. People might wait a while, but if you feel like it doesn't have to be you or your family. It could be the family member of a friend. Murder, unsolved homicides affect all of us.
Absolutely.
We all have either experienced something or it has affected us tangentially. It's that pebble effect where a pebble is dropped in a pond and you think it's just killing a person and maybe their, inner circle of family. And it's so much bigger than that.
Right.
It's so much bigger. And if while we rely on truck drivers for important things like food,
For sure.
Into grocery stores. And, it's a small fraction of people who are doing bad things. But if you know of someone who's maybe been, sex trafficked, if you know of someone who's maybe on the streets and maybe you haven't heard from them in a while, I'm going to, give you a hotline number. You can also call your local FBI office because they're all aware of this program.
Right.
They're all aware. Figliuzzi said, as for the trucking industry, I would advocate mandatory GPS trackers.
Yeah. Okay.
We need better vetting of truck applicants as well.
Yeah.
We should treat long haul truckers the way they are, which is an essential worker. Better pay, health and wellness programs, and incentives.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I believe in that also. I mean, so the thing about cameras and when I read, some truck drivers saying how difficult it would be now to, cameras in the cabs are basically large conglomerates, the, independent owner operators
Right.
and even medium-sized companies. They don't really have
They're
much, right. They don't have a lot to, they don't have maybe the money or the time or like who goes in and, looks at all of that. Right.
Yeah, no.
Right.
No, I would imagine that it's just going to be the big companies that then have computer software that's looking at that footage and only flagging anomalies that then a human can look at and go, wait a second.
There we are, back to the humans.
Mm-hmm, exactly.
I like humans. I think they're very helpful.
Yeah, I can live with them, I guess.
For the most part. You can still be a loner and then every now and then go out and live with the humans and then go back into your cave, your bat cave, and everything's good.
Yeah.
So this is what Frank Figliuzzi suggests. I wish there were a different number, but I'm going to give you, it's the National Sexual Assault Hotline. And it also, portends to someone who has been sexually assaulted and murdered. It's 1-800-656-4673. That's 1-800-656-4673. And I'll put it in the show notes. And I suggest calling your local FBI because if you, and they have local offices all over in many places you wouldn't know. Like I didn't know. I mean, that's their whole goal, I guess, is to be spooks, right? So we're not supposed to know they're there.
Right.
And please know you can always call us if you have a tip on a missing person or unsolved homicide, or you just want to suggest a case for us to cover. Please call us at 832-TIPSTER. That's 832-847-7837. You can always email us at jttipsters@gmail.com. And you can find us on any of the social media platforms, just the Tipsters Facebook page, at JT Tipsters on Instagram, at JT Tipsters Pod on Twitter, and more cowbell.
If you would like to support this podcast and get early access and other cool murderous swag, go to patreon.com/justthetipsters.